Today's story is Puss in Boots. One sad day, a poor miller died. All he left to his youngest son was the miller's cat. "A cat? What use is that?" sobbed the poor youngest son. But Meow was no ordinary cat. "Meow, you're my master now." "My master, I can help you," said the cat, "but first I need a new pair of boots." "Fancy that, a talking cat," said the young man, and with his last pennies he bought a new pair of fine boots. "I'll call you Puss in Boots," he said. Puss in Boots was set to work. He put some grains of corn deep inside a good strong sack, then off he went to the woods and waited a little way back. Before long, some greedy partridges climbed into the sack. "Meow, got you!" Puss in Boots went to the palace to see the king. "Your Majesty, these partridges are for you," he said, "a gift from my master the Count." "Fancy that, a talking cat," said the king. "Thank you," and he filled Puss in Boots' sack with gold coins. "My master, these are for you," said Puss in Boots. The young man's eyes opened up wide. "Fancy that, my clever cat," he said. The next day, Puss went to the palace again. "Your Majesty, these rabbits are for you," he mewed. "A gift from my master the Count." "Fancy that, it's the talking cat," said the king. One day, Puss in Boots heard the king was coming along the road. "My master, quick!" whispered Puss in Boots. "Off with your clothes, jump in the river." The young man was puzzled, but he did as Puss had told him. "Shh, I'll hide your clothes." It's a strange thing to do. "Help, your Majesty," said Puss in Boots. "My master went for a swim, and look, robbers have stolen his clothes." "It's the talking cat. Fancy that," said the king, and he sent a servant to bring some of his own clothes for the young man. "My master, meow, take a bow," said Puss in Boots. The king went on his way, and Puss ran ahead of him. What a tricky cat. Some farmers were cutting hay. "Farmers," said Puss in Boots, "the king is coming this way. Here's what you must say. This meadow belongs to the Count." "Fancy that, a talking cat," said the farmers. "Whose fine meadow is this?" "This meadow belongs to the Count." Then Puss ran ahead again to where some woodcutters were chopping wood. "Woodcutters," said Puss in Boots, "the king is coming this way. Here's what you must say. This forest belongs to the Count." "Fancy that, a talking cat," said the woodcutters. "Whose fine forest is this?" asked the king. "This forest belongs to the Count," said the woodcutters. Then Puss ran ahead again to an ogre's palace. "You are big, ogre," mewed Puss in Boots, "but are you clever too?" "Yes," roared the ogre as he turned himself into a lion. "You are fierce, ogre," mewed Puss in Boots, "but can you turn yourself into a tiny mouse?" "Yes," squeaked the ogre. "Meow, a very tasty mouse." Then Puss gobbled up the mouse. Soon the king arrived at the ogre's palace. "Who owns this fine palace?" asked the king. "Your Majesty," mewed Puss, "this palace belongs to the Count." "Then the rich Count must marry my daughter," said the king. Whoa. So the miller's son married the king's daughter, and he was never poor again. "My master, meow, life is good now," said Puss in Boots, and they all lived happily ever after. Wow, what a tricky cat Puss in Boots turned out to be. He was very clever, wasn't he? He figured out how to help the miller's son to be rich and never ever be struggling again. That was very kind. See you tomorrow.